Today, we're looking at how who we are really comes down to one thing: how you talk to yourself, the conversation you're having with yourself, the little voice in your head. Today, we're looking at how every single thought you have sends a signal through the body, and when you change how you speak to yourself, you change your brain. We're going to see how your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. We're going to look at our subconscious behaviors and emotions, how they run the show, and how becoming conscious of our subconscious self-talk is the key to growth, to transformation, and to living a more fulfilling life. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Inspiration Toolbox. I'm Natasha Rochelle, your host, your friend, and your biggest cheerleader. In this space, we explore small tools that lead to big transformations, and we turn inspiration into action. Let's get started. Well, hello, bonjour, guys. Welcome back. It's been so long. I was back home in Switzerland, I went to Spain, I went to Paris, and now I am back in Florida. And it is summertime, and it is hot. And I've been feeling very solar. I've been soaking up the sun like a lizard recharging its batteries. And it's given me so much joy. I know, too much sun isn't good for you. But listen, I used to be severely vitamin D deficient. Yeah, I know, I live in Florida, go figure. But now that I take prescription dose, horse dose vitamin D, my levels are finally good. But I still sunbathe with sunscreen, don't worry. All right, we're not here to talk about the weather or my lizard tendencies, but we're here to talk about something that could potentially, quite literally, blow your mind. Yes, we are talking about rewiring your brain. And I want to be really direct with you. If we don't master this self-talk business, our life is not going to change. Nothing is going to change. Nada. Research indicates that 95% of our behavior is driven by the subconscious mind. And that means that 95% of what you do, say, and feel is being run by a program you're not even consciously aware of. So only 5% of the mind is conscious against the 95% that is running these beliefs, habits, programs that are basically running your life. How wild is that? So even if you consciously want success, love, health, whatever it is, your life will still reflect those beliefs, those subconscious beliefs that are programmed beneath the surface. And those programs have conditioned your body to be in the state that it is. And we are so used to it that we're not even aware that we are thinking and feeling and talking to ourselves in often a very negative way. And if we don't become conscious of our negative self-talk, if we don't align the subconscious with the conscious mind, if we don't bring them into harmony, our life is not going to change. We will stay exactly as we are. And that's how most people live their entire lives, bumping into the same walls over and over and over again. Those subconscious programs, they run the show, and they are not the same as what your conscious mind says it wants. You may say you want a loving relationship, but your subconscious is running the program and it says men can't be trusted or women can't be trusted. Or you may say that you want success, but subconsciously you believe that you're not good enough. You may want abundance, but deep down you feel unworthy of it, so you keep focusing on how little you have. So this inner script saying, I'm not good enough, I don't have enough, it's not safe, people always leave me, whatever it is, it's like an old tape recorder playing back the same loop over and over that it's learned way back when. It's replaying those beliefs, which are false beliefs. They're not true. We talked about that before. They are not true. But they show up as 95% of our behavior. So no wonder it's so hard to change. But don't panic. We're going to rewire this madness. So here's the thing. We are very powerful manifestors. We do attract what we focus on with our feelings. We do. But the problem is that most of the time we are focusing on what we don't want. We're focusing on what we're afraid. We're focusing on what we lack. And so we receive more of exactly what we focus on, which is more of what we don't want. The universe, or the divine, God, the source, the field, whatever you want to call it doesn't matter. It responds to your focus. It's very, very obedient that way. It delivers exactly what you focus on, what you feel. When you say, I don't want to be broke, you're thinking about lack. You're feeling the fear of not having enough. So the signal you're sending out is broke, broke, broke. Or maybe you say, I want to be in a loving relationship. But what you keep focusing on is the pain that you went through in your last relationship, the pain of betrayal, or maybe the feeling of loneliness. So you'll keep attracting situations and people that will recreate that pain, that will confirm that feeling. So we're drawing into our life the very thing we're desperately trying to avoid. But we're asking for it. We're receiving back what we're sending out energetically. It's like we're placing an order, but we're filling out the wrong form. So how do we change the form? Well, neuroscience has proven that we can literally change our brain. We can rewire our brains. That means we can change our beliefs. And when our beliefs change, our behavior changes. When you mentally rehearse a new way of being, you imagine it, you feel it fully, the circuits in your brain begin to reorganize themselves to match that inner vision. It's like you install a new version of you. And just like installing a new software, once it's installed, the old programs, they don't run the show anymore. There is scientific evidence that shows us what all the great mystics have known for centuries, that we do have the capacity to heal, to transform ourselves. And that's not, spiritual woo-woo. It's biology, it's physics, it's measurable. One of the reasons I love Dr. Joe Dispenza's work is that he has this way of explaining the mystical in a measurable way. He often says that science is the contemporary language of mysticism. And if you've ever watched his videos, you'll see how they can collect brainwave data from participants from his retreats, and they can measure the electrical activity in the brain. And they also measure the emotional shifts in the body. So the participants enter these meditative states while they're wearing these plastic caps. They look like funny swim caps, and they can measure the brainwaves. And so as they shift into these higher states of meditation, these elevated states where the heart is turned on and they feel immense gratitude and love and kindness and appreciation, these elevated emotions change their state and their health. And it's the heart. It's the heart that informs the brain to change. It's the heart that is the creative center that informs the brain to begin to imagine. The heart is the center of wholeness, and wholeness is health. And so the heart directs the energy of wholeness to a particular part of the body that is not happy, that needs healing, and they can measure that. As you make the body more whole through elevated emotions, they can measure that. It's amazing. These are measurable changes in people's health and obviously in their lives. So elevated emotions can make you healthy. Wholeness makes you healthy. Wholeness heals. Love heals. And emotions are energy. Emotion. Energy in motion. Honestly, if all it takes to heal is to sit still and wear one of these ridiculous shower caps, sign me up. I'm here for it. So what part of your body needs healing? What part of your body needs to become more whole? Place your attention there for a moment. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. And then bring your awareness to your heart. And practice feeling with your heart, not just thinking about it, feeling with it. And as you slow your breathing down, you slow your brain waves down. And that's when the healing begins. That's when the body is ready to receive new information. Dis-ease is really a lowering of frequency. You can raise that part of the body back to health. You do that by practicing elevated emotions, practicing gratitude, practicing feelings of joy, feelings of love, Love heals. Love is the glue that holds it all together. When you're grateful, you'll send a very different signal to your brain, and you're going to create a different state of being because the body feels it. The cells listen. Now I can already hear you say to me, Natasha, gratitude? I'm way too stressed to feel gratitude right now. How am I supposed to feel grateful? I hear you. I get it. You don't have 10 minutes to yourself. You're 3 weeks behind your to-do list. Your life is a soap opera. I hear you. But here's the thing. Gratitude isn't like a reward that you get when things finally go your way. Gratitude is the tool that you use to change your experiences. And then things go your way. That's the game changer. It's like a tuning fork that changes your frequency. But you need to give that first. You offer gratitude first. You're telling your body the healing is already done, and your body starts to believe you. Your energy shifts, and your life starts reflecting that back to you. That's the work. That's the secret sauce. And it all starts with one single choice: to feel it right now. And look, if you are going through a stressful time in your life, then chances are your body doesn't feel very good. And that's not a mystery. It's because it's been marinating in stress hormones for too long. And that's why it's important to practice these elevated emotions, like gratitude, like joy, appreciation, inspiration. They're like vitamins for your body. And that is what will allow your brain to create a new state of being. There is a term called neuroplasticity, which basically means that your brain can change. Your brain can adapt, rewire itself, and reshape who you are. Every time you think the same thought, every time you feel the same emotion, you reinforce those connections in your brain. Think of it like walking through a field of grass, a tall field of grass. The first time you're walking through, it's kind of weird. You're pushing through the grass. But if you keep walking the same route over and over and over, the grass flattens and a path starts to emerge. Eventually, that becomes the way. That's exactly what happens in your brain. The more you repeat those thoughts, the more you repeat those emotions, the more familiar it becomes. It becomes who you think you are. It becomes who you feel you are. You walk yourself into a new version of you. Now pay attention because this part is super important. Remember how we talked about the subconscious beliefs that are running the show and that don't necessarily match what we say we want? How we said that we keep focusing on what we don't want rather than focusing on what we do want. Well, if we do that, we're creating a path in the field of grass that leads us exactly where we don't want to go. That is not the trail that we want. We want the scenic route, thank you very much, with the nice view. So it is super duper uber important that we become aware of our unconscious thoughts. It is crucial. Es crucial en español. How do we make the unconscious conscious? Honestly, I cannot think of a more important question than that. How do we change what we're not seeing, what we're not aware of? Well, let's have a look. Think of the things that you say all the time, things that you do on autopilot. Think of the actions that you perform every day, and these actions generate the same emotions every day. Have a look at your habits. It's automatic. Our body's been memorizing those habits, those unconscious thoughts. We've been holding on to these painful feelings for years sometimes, and it has a huge impact on our nervous system. Let's take an example of a feeling that I think we can all relate to. Guilt. Guilt. I was just reading about it in one of Dr. Joe's books. The feeling of guilt. And if you never feel guilty, well, good for you. I guess you're enlightened. So let's imagine that you feel guilty about something that happened a long time ago, and you feel that it was your fault, and you feel bad. And this becomes a habit of feeling guilty all the time, of thinking guilty thoughts all the time. Maybe you apologize all the time for no reason. Maybe you know someone like that. Maybe that someone is you. Now, every time you think a guilty thought, every time you're feeling crappy like that, you're telling your body to produce specific chemicals that make up the feeling of guilt. And so you become less and less sensitive to the feeling guilty. And so next time, it's going to require more hits of guilt chemicals to be stimulated. You know what I mean? It's like coffee, right? You need more and more caffeine. At first, you drink the cappuccinos, the lattes, and eventually you're like, where's my double espresso? Not that I would know anything about that. So that's how the addiction works. You become addicted to guilt. You demand a stronger rush of feeling bad in order to feel just alive. And you don't even realize that you're doing that. You don't have to think about feeling guilty. You just are that way all the time. Until one day. One day you become aware that you're doing that. Maybe a friend tells you, hey, stop apologizing all the time. You don't need to do that. And you realize. And you stop. And it feels really good. But here's the problem. Your body is now addicted to the guilt, and you need your fix of the emotion of guilt. Your body demands those molecules. It needs to experience the guilt. Your body's saying, what are you doing? You've been guilty all these years. We've been following your orders, and now you want to change? I don't think so. Your body wants to be in control again, and it protests. So you start feeling bad again. And in a weird way, it sort of feels good to feel bad again because it's so familiar. And so we are constantly living in the past. We have memorized these past experiences and we have become very attached to these emotions. And emotions aren't bad. Of course not. Emotions are not wrong. We want to feel them. We want to experience them fully, but not forever. So, like we said earlier, what are some of the thoughts and feelings that are just running on autopilot, that are in the background, that are living in my head, that are taking up all the space? What are those? That's step one. And you can ask yourself some questions to help bring this up from the unconscious, like, what am I focusing on most of the time? What's a thought I keep thinking about that might not even be true? What patterns do I keep repeating in my life? So become aware of those. We went over this in the last episode. The mantras that you repeat all day long, like, I'm too old, it's too late, it's too hard, I don't have enough time. So go back and listen to that episode. I also made a YouTube video a while back. I think it was called Morning Routine. Yeah. Where I show this breathing technique that you can do, and that will help bring stuff up to the surface. I mean, is it fun to do that? It's not always fun to go dig for that stuff, but it's necessary. It's like taking the garbage out. It's necessary, otherwise it starts to stink in the basement. No one likes to take the trash out, but everyone's glad once it's done. Now for the fun part, part 2, the good stuff. Remember that we said that your brain doesn't actually know the difference between something that's really happening and something you're imagining. When you feel something, like you really feel it deeply, whether it's happening or not, your brain fires the same circuits and your body produces the same chemicals. Like we said earlier, we don't wait to be grateful when something great happens. We become grateful first so that something great can happen. So let's take a moment now to meet the future version of you, the one who's already living the life you're creating. Let's drop into that vision, not just with your mind, but with your whole body. What does the free, vibrant, expanded you look like? You don't want to just think about the answers. You want to feel them with your whole body. Remember, your body believes that the future is happening right now. How does this version of you walk into the room? What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What colors? I mean, what reflects this new version of you? What does this version of you feel inside your body? And how do you speak to yourself? What words do you use? What tone? And how do you speak to others? What do you say to them? What comes up? Let your imagination rehearse that every day. The more often you do it, the faster it becomes familiar, the faster it becomes reality. Think of it as like your new home, your new emotional home, and you visit your home every day. Okay, guys, well, please have fun with this, play with this. If you knew for sure that this worked, and it does, if you knew for sure that your thoughts and feelings create your future, wouldn't you start rehearsing this right now? I think so. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode and that you'll start broadcasting a new reality. Now go out there with a big smile on your face and start walking like your future already happened. See you next time.